So what sets this civil suit apart from other cases against him, and what's at stake? Attorney A. Scott Bolden with us with more insight. Always good to see you this morning. This is it's a tough one, right? Because you have such a high-profile individual for a case that a lot of people, quite honestly, would never follow in the public eye if not for the person involved.
Yeah, this is about financial statements, tax statements, bank loans, bank statements.
It's not exciting stuff here, is it?
Not at all. It's going to go about 2 or 3 months, but even Donald Trump has turned it into a campaign political show, a campaign political clown show, and so we're all watching. Once again, he filled up the news time yesterday.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about the case and specifics in a second, but you heard what he had to say outside of the courtroom. He's clearly planting the seed as to trust within the judicial system here. Effective, not effective, dangerous, smart move by him? How do you view this?
Well, legally, it's not a smart move at all. He attacked the prosecutor and the judge, who actually, the judge is the fact finder, which he's made some findings of fact regarding persistent fraud already. And Letitia James, who was a former classmate of mine from Howard Law School, she could cut a deal and settle this case. It's not a criminal case. It's a civil case. The standard of review is preponderance of the evidence, and it's a bench trial. Trump never asked for a jury trial, and so this was a campaign stop versus an appearance in court. I know he appeared in court, but at every juncture, he made his grievances known. And again, it's not a criminal case, it's a civil case. He's going to be spending a lot of time in court between now and the end of 2024. And on the civil side, this is one of his appearances.
For this particular case, he did appear yesterday. Did he have to appear, or do you think he'll be back?
No. He did not have to appear. That's why it was a campaign stop. Now, I will say this. His brand, his money, and everything that he's worked for his whole life is at issue here in this courtroom and in New York, and so that's really, really important. And I could see him wanting to appear. He won't appear for the next 2 or 3 months, but this is important. Donald Trump is under attack at every front now. His brand, his money, and the civil side, he's got it coming from every direction. And let's be clear, he's driven this negative narrative of criminality or civil fraud exposure, and plus he's running for president of the United States. That's a lot for any human being to deal with.
Campaigning aside, this particular case, what does he and his family and his brand have to lose? What do they have to potentially gain if they can win this civil case?
Well, they have everything to lose. The judge has taken their business licenses. There will be an appeal on that. $250 million. The reports I've read that Donald Trump has about $400 million in cash available. He can survive this, if he will. But remember, Donald Trump is all about his brand. And this is the direct attack on his brand, his ability to borrow money, ability to generate income. And remember, on the civil side, his kids are also targets and defendants. They're going to testify. Donald Trump is going to have to testify. This is going to be great theater, but a lot is at risk for him.
Yeah, great theater for something that it typically would not be that interesting to most people outside of the real estate or legal community. A lot of times, and people might come out and say, you know, if you're backed into the corner, that's when you yell the loudest, right? Which might have been what some people say we saw yesterday. What do you see as far as this case? Do you see that he's backed into a corner here, or does he have a good chance to win this case? Where does it stand?
There's a line of demarcation between how you estimate or how you evaluate real estate, right? Here, the judges found persistent fraud taking place in a number of transactions. That's a big difference from competing experts who value real estate that could take a lot of different directions and could fluctuate between millions of dollars, if you will. Here, the judges found that it was beyond that, beyond the battle of the experts. Trump wants to say it's a battle of the experts. There was no, quote, criminal intent. Well, there was no fraudulent intent because of a civil case. And so he's got a heavy lift, because at the base of all of the other charges and the base of all of this is that he's had a finding of fraud already. So now everything pours into that, if you will. So he's got 6 other charges: false statements, I think false tax returns or false business records and what have you. Those seem to be pretty easy to prove. At the same time, though, the judge has to choose between whether these is just competing experts on real estate valuations or no, there were just outright lies in these documents, repeated lies over the years to borrow more money and inflate the values of these very important real estate assets.
A lot of people are going to be learning a lot about valuations when it comes to real estate.
I can't believe I got through that answer without flubbing it.
Made it through this
I'm a litigator. I'm not a real estate lawyer.
We got a couple months to go. This one could go until December. Scott, thanks very much. And then in the meantime, more to come next year.